Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Jagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhayo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much for joining today on this discussion on nectar of devotion, one of the 4 subject matters of advanced stage of understanding Bhakti Sastri. I think when we talk about nectar of devotion, there are different waves. Not for one moment. Let me see if I can adjust it properly. Did I? Yeah. Different waves. That's why nectar of devotion. The study guide is also titled "The Waves of Devotion." It has 4 sides. The eastern side are called Purva Vibhag, the Dakshina Vibhag, southern side, the Paschima Vibhag, the western side, and Uttar Vibhag, the northern side. And basically, the text begins from the eastern side, Purva Vibhag, with title also as Bhagavad Bhakti Veda, where we hear about varieties of devotional service, and they're described from chapters 1 to 19, or from introduction to chapter 19. The southern side, or Dakshina Vibhag, is Samanya Bhagavad Bhakti Ras, which describe about the general symptoms of Transcendental Mela from chapters 20 to 34. The Paschim Vibhag is Mukhya Bhakti Ras from primary loving relationships from chapters 35 to 44, and then Gauna Bhakti Ras, or indirect loving relationships from chapters 45 to 51. So we are discussing from the Purva Vibhag. That's how we began our Nectar of Devotion from introduction. And today we'll be discussing on the second wave, or the second Lahari, which is sadhana bhakti, which covers from chapters 2 to 16. And this wave or lahari is divided into two parts, as Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, following rules and regulations, and Raghunaga sadhana bhakti, spontaneous devotional practice. So chapter 2 describes about the principles of sadhana bhakti. What is sadhana bhakti? Devotional service in practice. Like sadhana bhakti is devotional service in practice. The bhava bhakti is devotional service in ecstasy. And prema bhakti is devotional service in pure love of God. So devotional service in practice, which is sadhana bhakti, um, the principle of sadhana bhakti is one's eligibility for practicing sadhana bhakti is attraction to please Krishna. And the most important principle is to remember Krishna, never forget Krishna, right? Never forget Krishna. Again, yeah. So this Purva Vibhag, as we talked about, is further divided in Samanya Bhakti, which we discussed in chapters introduction and chapter 1, the Sadhana Bhakti, which is chapter 2 to 16, Bhava Bhakti, chapter 17 to 18, and Prema Bhakti in chapter 19. So what do we mean when we talk about Sadhana Bhakti? When we say devotional service in practice, what is that practice? Practice means employing our sensory organs or senses in some particular type of work, in particular type of work, particular type of service in relationship with Krishna. Therefore, devotional service in practice means utilizing our different sensory organs in service to Krishna. Right? We have this different, basically our sensory organs is knowledge acquiring senses. Like how do we engage all of them in service to the Supreme Lord? And a important point which is made here is this practice is not meant for developing something artificial, but is meant for reviving something which is dormant within us. Right? That Nitya Siddha Krishna Vema Sadhya Kapuna Shramanadi Suddha Chitta Karayodaya. Right? This devotional service, attraction to Krishna is present within us in dormant state. So it is meant to revive that dormant state. So devotional service to the Supreme Lord is a natural instinct of every living entity. Right? It's a natural instinct of every living entity. Even those who do not have complete knowledge about Krishna or even preliminary knowledge about Krishna, forget about complete knowledge, even we don't have complete knowledge about Krishna. Manushyanam sahasrachu kaschidhyata visiddha. Hey, but who has even preliminary concept of God, like the Aborigines. Consider that the Aborigines, they don't have any concept of, okay, Lord is Krishna or Ram, that is God. But they consider something higher, and the principle is there to offer something to the higher. Right? Though they may not have any knowledge about higher. Right? But to offer something to the higher. Right? So even they have that innate inclination. So similarly, each and every living entity has that inclination within them. Even the atheist They have they're completely against the concept of God. When something happens, immediately they remember God or something higher, right? So that's the natural instinct of every living entity. Yeah, yeah. So when we wish to develop our innate capacity for devotional service, there are certain processes which, by our accepting and executing them, will cause the dormant capacity to be invoked, right? That process by which the dormant capacity is invoked, or that practice is called sadhana bhakti, right? That practice is called sadhana bhakti. So, definition of sadhana bhakti or devotional service in practice. Practice means employing our senses in some particular type of work. Therefore, devotional service in practice means utilizing our different sensory organs in service to Krishna. Some of the senses are meant for acquiring knowledge, and some are meant for executing the conclusions of our thinking, feeling, and willing. Right? So, practice means employing both the mind and senses in pure devotional service, in practical devotional service. Mind and the senses in practical devotional service. We see how senses are engaged in the service of the Lord by the example of Ambarish Maharaj, where he engages his mind always thinking about the Supreme Lord. He engages his feet to walk to the temple of the Lord. He engages his sight, eyes, to see the Lord. He engages his smell, potency of nose, to smell the flowers offered to the Lord. Right? The auditory sense, no, means, the auditory sense to speak, the tongue, uh, he engages that in chanting the holy name of the Lord. So similarly, each and every senses can be utilized in the service of the Lord, including the mind, including the mind, right? Including the mind. So devotional service in that's devotional service in practice. Devotional service in ecstasy is bhava bhakti, which we'll discuss later, and devotional service in pure love is prema bhakti, which also we'll discussing the coming chapters. So we will discuss about that then. So sadhana bhakti consists of two qualities. So similarly, we see that sadhana bhakti consists of two qualities, bhava bhakti consists of four qualities, the two qualities which sadhana bhakti has plus additional two, and prema bhakti consists of six qualities, the four qualities of bhava bhakti plus additional two. So the two qualities of sadhana bhakti is kleshagni. What is kleshagni? Relief from all kinds of material distress. The material distresses, the three causes for material distress. One is papam, sinful reactions, the bijam, material desires, and ignorance. The Subhada, the second quality of sadhana bhakti, is all auspicious, which is compassion for everyone, right? These qualities attracts everyone, it produces good qualities and bestows superior happiness. Then the other two, which is included in Bhava Bhakti, is Moksha Lagutak Takrit, derives conception of liberation, and Sudurlabha, rarely achieved, cannot be achieved by our own efforts. Krishna rarely awards it. And then the additional two qualities which are there in Prema Bhakti is Sandarananda Visheshatma, incalculably condensed bliss, and Sri Krishna Karsini, the only means to attract Krishna under the control of the internal potency of Krishna. Right. So Kleshaggi and Subhada are the two qualities which sadhana bhakti has. Now, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.2, this verse is there. Tatra sadhana bhakti kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhava sadhana abhida nitya siddhasya bhavasya prakatyam riddhi sadhyata. So sadhana bhakti is defined as action of the senses which produces the stage of bhava, is called sadhana bhakti. So action of the senses. So it begins, the preliminary stages, action of the senses, using our senses in the service of the Lord. And ultimately, when we use our senses in the service of the Lord, when we advance in utilizing our senses in the service of the Lord, then there will be natural attraction of continuously using our senses in the service of the Lord to come to that stage of bhava. That attained stage of bhava bhakti sadhyata is an eternal stavi bhava, which is not created, but simply manifests within the soul by the spiritual energy of the Lord. From the commentary of Jiva Goswami, when bhakti is cultivated by the actions of the senses, it is called sadhana bhakti. And it ends with the attainment of bhava. Sadhana is that by which bhava and prema are achieved. One cannot directly get to the platform of bhava or prema. It is attained only by sadhana bhakti. Right? Yeah. I'm going to skip the commentary of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. It talks more about bhava bhakti. So, pure love, like we discussed this verse, Nitya Siddha Krishna Sadhya Kabunai, Shravanadi Suddha Chitta Karayoda. The pure love of Krishna is eternally established in the heart of the living entities. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, the love naturally awakens. So there are two types of sadhana bhakti, right? So there are two qualities of sadhana bhakti which we discussed. Now there are two types of sadhana bhakti, right? Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and Raganaga sadhana bhakti. So Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is bhakti which is performed by regulated devotional practices. Regulated devotional practices are called Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. And spontaneous devotional practice is called Raghunaga sadhana bhakti. Right. One can get to the stage of Raghunaga sadhana bhakti only after performing Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. So Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, on the platform of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, one does not have strong attraction for the Supreme Lord. One has preliminary concept of the Supreme Lord. But as an obligation, to the spiritual master's orders or orders of scriptures, which one starts having faith in, one performs this Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, which is regulated devotional practices. So the source of inspiration of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti is orders of the spiritual master and scriptures, right? Like the spiritual master orders us, okay, you should wake up early, go to sleep early, wake up early, and go for Mangala Arati. And we go for Mangala Arati, right? We chant our rounds that we take vows on that, okay, chant 16 rounds. We don't have attraction for chanting the holy name, but still as an obligation, because we have taken shelter of a spiritual authority. We feel obligated that, oh, I have taken these four namas, basically 5 vows. One is one do chant 16 rounds, another is 4 are don'ts. Follow the 4 negative principles. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, right, and no gambling. We don't have full attraction for the Supreme Lord, but by performing Vaidhi sadhana bhakti regularly, ultimately we'll come to the stage of spontaneous devotional practices, at which stage we are inspired from natural attraction. We are not inspired only by the orders of the spiritual master, but now we are inspired by natural attraction, that we continuously want to serve the Supreme Lord. Like when we go in the morning, we start thinking about, okay, now I want to serve the deities. I want to do this kind of shringar. Or we plan beforehand, tomorrow is my turn for shringar of the Supreme Lord. I will dress them accordingly. Or they don't even wait for, at the Raghunaga platform, we don't even wait for the turn. Right? You don't even wait for the turn. It comes spontaneously, that every day, right? Let me offer fresh flowers to the Supreme Lord. Let me, establish the place where the Supreme Lord is nicely and clean, complete clean way. Let me be punctual, punctuality. It all comes, right? It all comes by Raghunaga Bhakti. Inspiration from natural attraction, right? So further, Vaidhi Bhakti is also categorized into two: Pancharatra ki Vidhi, Vidhi Marg, or Bhagavad Vidhi, Raga Marg, right? And Srila Prabhupada so nicely incorporate both those in our Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, Pancharatra ki Vidhi and Bhagavad Vidhi. So Pancharatra ki Vidhi is basically has this Panchanga, right? 5 wings or 5 limbs rather. Abhigamana or preliminary activities such as waking early morning, paying obeisances to one's spiritual master, cleansing one's body, putting on fresh clothes, performing achman, putting on tilak, reciting Gayatri mantras, if one is a Brahmana, etc. Upadhanam or collecting the required items for worship, yoga or linking one's mind with the Supreme Lord by reciting Buddha Suddhi prayers, which help one to understand one's true identity as the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. HG, or the actual worship of the Lord with 16 upchars and swadhyaya, or the personal meditation or cultivation of devotional services such as Shravanam and Kirtanam. The focus here while performing this is analyzing one's personal relationship with the Supreme Lord by the holy name, japa, or by reading books, reading and studying, or deity worship, or considering how to improve our capacity to promote spiritual standards. Right. Of all the regulative principles, the spiritual master's order to chant at least 16 rounds is most essential. Now it's more technical that, okay, now these are all these different principles which are there of following the orders of the spiritual master. And of all the orders which the spiritual master gives, Srila Prabhupada kind of emphasize that of all that, the order of chanting 16 rounds is the most essential. Right? Why? Like we were talking about, using our senses in the service of the Lord. How do we use our mind in the service of the Lord? By focusing on that sound vibration, right? That we chant this holy name. But we just don't recite like a parrot reciting. We focus our mind in that sound vibration which comes in while chanting the holy name of the Lord. And by focusing our mind in the vibration which comes from the holy name of the Lord, we'll be able to control the mind, which is so difficult to control, right? There are other processes. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we hear about this Ashtanga Yoga process by which we can control the mind. But even Arjuna 5,000 years back found it Chanchala Mana Krishna. The mind is so chanchal that I can control the wind, but it's very difficult to control the mind. And Lord says, yes, Abhyas Yogena Kaunteya. But by regular practice, one will be able to control the mind. Right? So controlling the mind is by using or utilizing our mind in sadhana bhakti is by focusing our mind on the sound vibration of the holy name of the Lord. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Right. This 9 process of devotional service. Right. So this is Vidhi Vaidhi Bhakti. Right. Vidhi Vaidhi Bhakti. Following the orders of a spiritual master. Right. Following the orders of the spiritual master. And then now chanting japa should be done early in the morning with full concentration, preferably during the Brahma Muhurta time. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada mentioning that your first job should be to make sure that every one of the devotees in your zone of management is reading regularly our literatures and discussing the subject matter seriously from different angles of saying what good are many devotees, none of them are knowledgeable. Right? So we are not here to just make devotees and just on the name of devotees. That's why we are focusing. Shimesha Babu is nicely leading this evening effort by initially starting. We discussed the Bhagavad Gita. We completed discussion of the Bhagavad Gita. Then we went to Sikshastakam, right? Nectar of Instruction. Ishopanishad, Nectar of Instruction, now Nectar of Devotion. So that devotees actually become more and more knowledgeable, right? Become more and more knowledgeable, have more attraction of learning Shastra. And ultimately that will help them develop natural affinity for serving the Lord and natural attraction towards serving the Lord to come to that stage of Raghunaga Bhakti. right? Spontaneous devotional service. So if you want to stay in Krishna consciousness, you will have to develop firm faith in Guru and Shastra. Therefore, you must study my books very scrutinizingly, follow the four negative principles very strictly, and chant 16 rounds daily, avoiding the 10 offenses. Don't take this movement as something cheap. Srila Prabhupada to Sutadev. Yeah, and that talks about you must all study very scrutinizingly all of the books so that when the need arises, you can repeat in your own words the purport goes about the books. And so this emphasis is again and again there about chanting the holy name of the Lord and reading books or hearing these topics to Shanticha, Ramanticha. Right. Shinvata Sakata Krishnam Punya Shravana Kirtanam. Right. This process of devotional service, starting with hearing, right, and chanting, right. Then, when the natural affinity comes, then we have more and more attraction for devotional service, right. So that is there. That's why Prabhupada wanted all the Grahastha devotees, especially, to have deities at home. Initially, they start with having the picture of deities, so that when they make the deities the center of their life, center of the home, then all the activities in their home, they automatically channel it in the service of the Lord. Right. They automatically channel it in the service of the Lord. And ultimately, when they have more attraction, then they get deities. And slowly induce the propensity of serving to the right channel of serving the Supreme Lord. Okay. Okay. So these are for the details. Are there any questions so far or discussions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
So Prabhu, you already mentioned that sadhana bhakti has the two properties. Can you repeat again, please? So I maybe missed that point.
Sadhana bhakti has two qualities.
Well, yes.
Right? Yeah, so that's Kleshagni and Subhada.
Oh, okay.
And it's that Kleshagni is relief from all kinds of material distress, and Subhada is all auspicious.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So that material distress, yeah, it's like sinful reactions, material desires, ignorance. Is that all right?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu, I got it. So another 2 point you already mentioned, that's Klesakni and Sadhana Bhakti, and another two is there.
No, no.
Uh,
In sadhana bhakti, there are two qualities:
yeah.
Kleshagni and Subhada.
Okay, got it.
Then another two comes on the platform of Bhava Bhakti. This Kleshagni and Subhada is already there, plus additional two.
Yes, got it.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, got it.
Okay, thank you. Any other?
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, always to Srila Prabhupada. You mentioned about this Pancharatrika Vidhi,
Yes.
right? And there were like 5 points, like
Panchanga.
yeah. And what is that third point? I didn't understand. This it was talking about reciting some kind of prayers.
Well, reciting prayers to purify Bhutta Suddhi prayers. So Bhutta Suddhi prayers is basically you purify the different elements, right? Yoga linking one's mind with the Supreme Lord by reciting Bhutta Suddhi prayers, which help one to understand one's true identity as an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. That we have this Bhumi Apanala Vayu Kama Mana Buddhi Vacha, right? This 8 different energies, 5 gross material elements and 3 subtle material elements. So even while a yajna is performed, before performing yajna, what do? We purify each and every articles which are used for the yajna, right? So Bhutta Suddhi is ultimately doing the purification of different senses, material senses, which are used in the service of the Lord. Is that all right?
Okay. Yeah. Got it, Prabhuji. Yeah. So, this Pancharatri Vidhi, is it what we do in our temple, the worshipping our deities, like that falls into this
Yeah.
Pancharatri Vidhi? Okay.
Yeah, so it's not only what we do at our temple, but it's even mentioned for us that even like Pancharatriki Vidhi, that all devotees should follow this Pancharatriki Vidhi and Bhagavad Vidhi. Bhagavad Vidhi means reading Shastra. Understanding Shastra is Bhagavad Vidhi. Pancharatric Vidhi is that, okay, you wake up early in the morning, go to the temple, or if you're not able to go to the temple, even wake up early in the morning and have deities at home to do Mangala Arati. Right?
Got it. Yes.
Not necessarily that Mangala Arati means you have to come to a temple and do Mangala Arati. No, Mangala Arati can be done even at your home.
Correct.
The whole purpose of that is regulated devotional service. Like Vaidhi means regulated devotional service. That the spiritual master orders us that, okay, now once you chant the 16 rounds of the holy name, and the best chanting happens during Brahma Murta phase, right, where 1.5 hours before sunrise, right? That's the best time of chanting. So during that time, so all temples have this morning program, right? That, okay, it starts with Mangala Arati at 4:30. Then we have even Tulsi Arati. We chant the 10 offenses against the holy name. And then we start chanting. So that process is there in the temple. But that same process we can learn from the temple and bring that process in our home so that in our natural practice it becomes regular. Because on the stage of Vedic Bhakti, we want to perform regulated devotional service. So this is a practice which we need to perform. It's not that it's voluntary. For a sincere sadhaka, right? For a sincere sadhaka, it is necessary, mandatory. Right. Just like if you are even interested in running like marathon, there are some regulated practices which has to be performed to qualify yourselves to run a marathon. Right? That regularly practice. Similarly, whatever even material art which we want to perform requires some regular practice. So how can we think that, oh, for us to attain pure law of God, we can attain pure law of God without any regular practice, right? The regular practice has to be there. So it starts with this Vaidhi Bhakti. Is that okay?
Yes, yes. Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. So again, so Prabhu, can you repeat that Pancharatna Vidhi is the early rise early in the morning? After that, what are the other things?
Yeah, like this, it's basically divided into this 5 Panchanga. Abhigamana, preliminary activities such as waking early morning, paying obeisances to one's spiritual master, right? Cleaning one's body, putting on fresh clothes, performing achman, putting on tilak, right? So
Yes,
we put on tilak.
yes,
Why do we put on tilak? We decorate our body by putting on tilak. We are saying that no, means our body is just lump of matter, but because the soul is within our body, it is a temple. The super soul is also within our body, so it becomes a temple of the Lord. And that temple of the Lord is decorated at 12 different places. Right. And there is mantras that, okay, no means we remember Lord Keshava by applying tilak on the forehead. And then Lord Narayan, Lord Madhava, Lord Govinda, Lord Vishnu, right? Like that.
yes.
So there is a process for applying tilak, for regulated devotional service. So initially, we force ourselves, otherwise, no means we have attraction that, oh, no means why tilak, no means no, I want to keep long hair, I want to keep this, I want to keep that. But just like you go into military, military also has some rules and regulations. No, your hair has to be, it's like military cut, right? No, it's not too long. Nails are also looked at. There is no long nails. That no means you have to regularly cut the nails. So these are all the steps necessary for basic cleanliness, right? So similarly, in devotional practice, with regulations by the there is rules and regulations, right? Keeping our body clean, taking bath daily. Not that morning time is too busy, so I will take bath at night, so that I don't have to take bath in the morning. No, as soon as you pass stool, you have to take bath. You pass water, uh, clean your hands, sprinkle water on your feet, right? Like that. Is it okay?
Yes, this only that particular things is the Pancharatna Vidhi or any other things you are talking about, Prabhu?
Yeah, the Pancharataki Vidhi starts like, waking up, going for Mangalarti. Basically, Pancharataki Vidhi is worshipping deities, is Pancharataki Vidhi.
Okay. Any mantra, anything else?
Yeah, chanting the holy name of the Lord is also part of that. The Bhagavad Vidhi comprises of more reading Shastra, right? The worship, yeah. Like the Swadhyaya or the personal meditation or cultivation of devotional service such as Shravanam and Kirtanam is part of Pancharataki Vidhi, Panchanga.
Okay.
So of all that really, as I we read before that the most important order of a spiritual master is to chant the holy name of the Lord. Right.
Yes. And reading the Shastra. That's two things.
Yeah, but chanting the holy of the Lord also precedes that, just like
Yes.
of all the negative principles, spiritual masters order to chant at least 16 rounds is most essential. Right. Again and again it is mentioned chanting. Chanting japa should be done early in the morning with full concentration, preferably during the Brahma Muhurta time. Right. The first job should be to make sure that everyone on the devotees in the zone is reading, but it's there. But the most important is chanting the holy name of the Lord. And then the emphasis is there about reading the books scrutinizingly. But chanting the holy name of the Lord, if we don't have enough time to read this, that, chant the holy name of the Lord. Read one verse a day. Right. Fine. But chant the holy name of the Lord. At least the 16 rounds. Then we can, yes. So, practical service, right? Practical service has to be performed. We are not at the stage of Haridas Thakur that we will have natural attraction of the holy of the Lord, that we can chant 192 rounds of the holy name for 22, 23 hours a day. We'll just be able to chant the holy of the Lord. No. Practical service that should be done. What do you mean practical service? By engaging our senses. We clean the temple of the Lord. That's also devotional service. Right? That's practical service. Cutting vegetables, practical service. Making garlands, practical service. Going to buy boga for the temple, practical service. Buying the flowers which has to be offered to the Supreme Lord, the practical services. Making sure that everything is right, the plumbing, this, that, ironing the clothes of the Lord, practical service. These are all different aspects of practical service of serving the Supreme Lord. Right?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mati.
Dandat Pranam on Krishna
Then
Shila.
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, you just mentioned practical service. So basically, like I listen, to the Bhagavatam class and then these classes in the evening. So sometimes because there's so much information, it gets overwhelming. And
Okay.
sometimes, frustrating in the sense because I feel like I am not intelligent enough to understand each and everything and like remember, like if I have to speak to somebody of what you spoke today, I will just maybe remember Vedi Bhakti and just the basics. So
Yeah.
my ultimate after listening to all these classes day in and day out also is all I'm trying to do is focus on the ultimate, which is devotional service and developing love of God, like the practical part of it.
Yeah.
But if you ask me the theory of each and everything, I won't be able to maybe explain each and everything, maybe in my own words, in very simple language, but the essence, but not everything in detail. So sometimes I feel very frustrated about it. That,
Yeah.
like I'm not, I don't know, should I strive, to know each and everything or just focus on what should be the ultimate, which is love of Godhead and like practical, just like you said, practical devotional
Yeah.
service, which I feel is like what my focus is.
Yes. So the
Um,
real focus should be ultimately whatever helps us to always remember Krishna and not forget Krishna. That's the real focus.
mhm.
Right. So Srila Prabhupada gave us all this so that practically we can use that. Now, the technical terms as you mentioned, it is good for the preacher to know about it so that he can preach. But no, it's not that each and everyone has to memorize that at each and every time of the hour, right? Practically, we just have to memorize that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, or ultimately come to that understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And there are 16 syllable holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That by itself is enough. We see Mahaprabhu going to South India and this Brahmana, illiterate Brahmana, is holding Bhagavad Gita upside down. And tears are rolling from his eyes. And Mahaprabhu sees that and he approaches the Brahmana. He says, I cannot read, I'm illiterate, I cannot read Bhagavad Gita, but I'm just seeing the Supreme Lord driving a chariot of his devotee. And that invokes that sentiments within him, that tears are rolling down from his eyes. So Mahaprabhu mentioned that he understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita. The essence of Bhagavad Gita is to practically use our senses in service of the Supreme Lord. Not to remember, okay, we are able to memorize, we are part of the Gita Parayan group, and we memorize all the 700 verses, fine, good. If you are not able to do that, fine also. Right? So, what you are feeling is completely all right, Mataji, that okay, I'm practically just engaging my senses. Coming for cooking, making garlands, practically engaging my senses. And in that, somehow, somewhere or the other, if you are able to hear the lecture here and there, fine. If you are not able to hear, fine too. Right? But the most important principle is whatever it takes us to remember Krishna more. Right? That's the most important principle here. What gets you to do that? That's why Srila Prabhupada gave this Pancharatiki Vidhi, Bhagavad Vidhi. He said, okay, all these are there for your sadhana bhakti, for this Vaidhi bhakti, with rules, regulations, so that you have attraction on one thing at least. Somebody has attraction just to clean the temple, fine. Right. There are these 4 varnas and ashramas given. Right. That how in each and every varna one can engage in serving the Supreme Lord. Right. Which are the 4 varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. In a collaborative stage, at each and every of that varna, one is inclined to preach, while the other Kshatriyas are inclined to administer, valiantly fight. Parikshit Maharaj, immediately as soon as he saw this person trying to kill a bull, immediately he pulled out his sword and stopped him. That's the valor. That means is a king. He has to protect each and every living entity in his kingdom. So in a collaborative stage, each and everybody of that oneness help each other. Right? A Shudra completely serves the other three varnas. The mercantile person earns money, is attracted to earn money. So similarly in the temple we see that there are some devotees who are inclined to study Shastra, get all this knowledge as you mentioned, so that they can preach. There are administrators who protect the society. There are Vaishyas, inclination, who figure out how to raise more funds for the service of the Supreme Lord. So we have all these natural other propensities, but the principle is how those natural propensities we can use it in the service of the Lord. Right? Is that all right, Mataji?
Yeah, very, very well explained, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, can I add a point? Because I was also
Yes,
at one
please,
point,
Mataji.
Sachimata Mataji, I was also, going through one stage, I'm unable to remember the shlokas, and I'm unable to remember now. The lecture is over. What did I, you have to recapitulate. What did you remember? So I just want to give an analogy, like how we don't remember eating our food, kal kya khaya, parsu kya khaya. So food is nourishing us. It is keeping us healthy. It is keeping us disease free. So similarly, hearing these lectures, whether you remember or not, it is nourishing our soul subconsciously. You are, like how Prabhuji said, you are using your senses in a practical way, using your senses for the pleasure of the Lord. So you are the lectures are nourishing us, and so we are able to face difficult situations in life as and when they come. We are able to feel the bliss and happiness. You're able to, like how our body is nourished by eating food, so similarly, our soul is nourished by hearing these lectures. You may not remember the food, like how you don't remember the lectures, but they are very nourishing. That's all. I just wanted to give an analogy.
Yeah, that's so true, Mataji. Yeah, and I love to hear. That's why, I try to join as many classes, or whenever I'm cooking also, Prabhupada's or my Guru Maharaj, or any lecture is on, because I love to hear. The problem was memorizing, but yes, it is very blissful and nourishing, and that's why I've been doing it constantly. But thank you so much for sharing. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
Yeah. Prabhuji, like one question, like in the temple, we first start off with the Mangal Aarti, right? And then we do the Tulsi Puja and then the chanting.
Yes.
That's the process. So when we are doing at home, if we are trying to get up early in the Brahm Muhurta, what should be the priority? Like, should we be doing the chanting first, or should we be doing the Mangal Aarti? Because you mentioned that chanting is the most important.
Yes.
Like, so just wanted to, get a
Yeah.
clarification.
Very good. So the home deity worship standard is different from the temple deity worship standard, right? Like at the temple we have Mangala Aarti, we have Shingara Aarti, we have the Balya Aarti, or like Dhup Aarti, then Rajbhog Aarti, Uttapa Aarti, like Vaikalika Aarti, right? Sandhya Aarti and Shan Aarti. At home we cannot follow all these artis, right? So even if you worship the deity worship at home, if you are able to daily offer bhoga to the Lord, well and good. What time? If you are able to perform Mangalarti, fine. If not, wake up like was that devotee mentioned that no means as soon as you wake up, you can wash your face, brush your teeth, and immediately start chanting. Fine. And later on, after taking bath, you worship the deities. Maybe 10 minutes a day, fine. 5 minutes a day, fine. If you're not able to change the dress every day of the deities, fine. At home, those standards are more relaxed. As you mentioned, when the most essential part of following the orders of the spiritual master is chanting the holy name of the Lord. So make sure that your time is optimized in chanting the holy name of the Lord. If you are able to do more, fine. If you're not, at least basic, chant the holy name of the Lord.
Got it. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
clarifying. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, another clarification we need in this connection.
Yeah.
And so, if I wake up after that and we do the brushing and washing our mouth, everything, do I need to change our clothes with the good clothes and then chanting, or just with the clothes,
It
whatever the
doesn't
clothes?
matter. Whatever you're wearing. You don't have to, okay, now I need to change into dhoti and sari or this or that and chant. No. Start chanting.
Okay. Okay, got it. Dhanyavad Pranam.
No problem.
Prabhuji, regarding what Gunjan Mataji asked, this is a very nice answer that you gave about the flexibility, because her kids are very little right now. And Gunjan Mataji, when I just wanted to share this because it might be helpful, because when my kids were like little, and at that time, Gundicha Mataji was something that she said really helped. She said that bringing up these kids is also devotional service. It's devotional service. So the kids should be your priority. It should not be that you're leaving the kids and running to the temple to perform garlands or something else, because taking care of the kids, because you're taking care of them, because they are the future generation of Krishna consciousness, right? They are going to spread Krishna consciousness, right? And leading them to the right path. This is service in itself. So what Madhupati Prabhu said is so true, so helpful and true for Grasta, especially, that flexibility is very necessary. I asked the same question to Janardhan Maharaj the other day. I said, Mangal Aarti, due to my circumstances, I cannot get up at that exact time. And then he said again the same thing, that the standards of the temple are different from home, so even if you're getting up at 4:45, it's fine to perform Mangal Aarti at that time. It doesn't matter that it has 4:30 curtain khulna hi khulna hai for Mangal Aarti. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that. It's really helpful, because sometimes for Grastas, the circumstances are such, that rigidity cannot be there. Maybe for Prabhuji's can follow, for Mataji's, it's so dependent on taking care of, we are being pulled in every direction, with household work and kids, and sometimes up the whole night because the kid is sick. So
yes, Mataji, thank you so much for sharing that. And that's really what the situation is in my house. Like, actually,
we've gone through it. Allow our kids are older, we've gone through it. So that's why I wanted to share, because it helped me a lot when Gundija Mataji said that to me. And she was referring to all the other Matajis.
It all depends upon different situations for each and every devotee, right? I mean, just like Mataji has to take care of the children, and the children are young, and that's a priority. Right now I'm taking care much more of my mother. Some priority. I cannot say, okay, it's now I have to go to the temple, I have to chant 16 rounds. Yes, chanting 16 rounds, I have to kind of schedule it around that priority. But I cannot just abandon. Okay, I'm not going to take care of the children because I have to chant 16 rounds in the morning hours, so I cannot cook breakfast for my children when they are going to school. No, we'll do that. Similarly, I have to help my mother right now. Okay, to go to the bathroom, go do this, do that. So that takes a priority. So depending upon the situations which each and every one of us are there, you have to kind of flex a little bit here and there.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and thank you so much, HG Mataji, for your thoughts. And yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Sounds good. Any other discussion? We can wrap up. Himeshwar Prabhu, any guidance? Or is in Bhakti Viksha? Okay. So we'll end our discussion here and continue from Monday forward with the discussion of Sadhana Bhakti. This was chapter 2 of Sadhana Bhakti to some extent, and then further chapters will be discussed. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhayavacha patitanam
Namo Namah.
Vrinda ki jai.
Vaishnav ki jai.
Srimad
Jai.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Samhita Sindhu ki jai.
Jai.
Rupa Goswami ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Lord. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you so much. Wonderful class,
you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very
Hari.
nice class.
Hari Baba. Thank you.